Good evening, folks. This is Andy Pedraza with Special Effects Academy. We are on the 6 p.m. start of the week session for the Forex Training Room on September 27th of 2020. We'll through our standard agenda, a look at prior week's results, our currency strength meter for the week and month, a look at our announcements coming up this week, a look at the major pairs on the daily charts, any setups we see in progress, and a few words in conclusion. Starting with ledgers, we did take a hit on the long-term account this week as a few trades closed out against. We're still nicely positive for the year. And again, this is the nature of the long-term account. We're looking for bigger wins, but that does expose us to bigger losses if and when they come along. So it's usually two steps forward, one step back, and then we repeat. And well, it works out more often than not, but that's where we are right now. We had a couple of the pound pairs did close out against with their stop loss. So that basically explains the hit. On the intermediate term account, we were pretty much sideways, so not a big difference in the overall balance. A few trades closing out here and there, and we remain with 3 trades open right now on USD CAD, Aussie CAD, and EURGBP. And on the short-term account, same thing, basically sideways. We regressed about 3 percentage points, but again, that was pretty much what we had gained the prior week. So overall sideways week. Notes and opportunities for improvement. The market is starting to take sides as a lot of geopolitical events play out. The COVID, the election cycle in the US, and a few other things happening around the world. It looks like some of the currencies are definitely starting to go directional, which of course is to our advantage. It was an overall flat week, but going on to the previous point, we do see a lot of the pairs at their extreme points of either resistance or support and starting to trend in a direction we can probably play along with. Drawdown on the long term as a couple of trades close out against, as mentioned earlier, and that is the nature of that account. Commodities such as oil, silver, gold continue to attract buyers. So the US dollar did gain significantly in strength this prior week. Not sure what caused it other than, the market does whatever the market's going to do. But it was an interesting thing to watch, and we'll see if it has any legs, or more likely, and this is my gut feeling, we're going to see it just return to dollar weakness. And of course, our live event is finally here. It is happening this week. Signups are still open on the website for anyone looking to make it. And we very much look forward to seeing a lot of people there. And bear with me, my screen seems to have frozen. There we go. Okay, so we're looking at our relative strength meter for the past month and week. If I can direct your attention to the rightmost columns, we can see on the monthly that the big movers that we're interested in are the euro pound, and indeed that one has moved quite a lot in the last month, as have most of the pound pairs. We've also seen USD CAD and USD Swiss do significant retracements. Last week indeed is pretty much the bulk of that movement, at least on the USD CAD and the USD Swiss, 1.4 and 2% respectively. We saw silver regress last week by 14.55%, which is the bulk of that monthly drawdown on silver. And again, this is normal, especially when the dollar is gaining strength. Things do move in zigs and zags, so it's very rarely a single direction that the market takes. And that's where we are. So not a whole lot to see here. Most of the pairs didn't move all that much. Kiwi dollar, I guess, did a decently significant move in the neighborhood of 3%. But that is pretty much about it. Again, the flavor of the week seems to have been dollar strength, again, for no accountable reason. Fundamental announcements for the week. It's a very light week, and luckily, because I honestly wouldn't have had time to do fundamental trading this week, given our live event. We do have non-farm payroll coming out Friday morning, as that is part of our live event that will obviously be traded live. Commodities, oil continues to just trend sideways, or actually trendless is the official, I guess, term, as it bounces between a high in the mid 40s and a low in the around the 37 range. And right now it's almost precisely at the middle of that range at $40 per barrel. Euro dollar, and this is going to be indicative of pretty much all the dollar pairs which we're going to look at. We saw a significant amount of dollar strength come into the market this prior week. So you can see that pretty much all 5 days of the euro dollar were bearish days as it went all the way back down to support. Again, I'm sure we're going to have opportunities to trade it in the opposite direction, but if it does break support, we're going to go in the direction of the dollar. We don't trade my gut feelings or anybody else's gut feelings or analysis. We trade whatever the market is doing. So I'm eagerly waiting to see how the week kicks off to figure out which way we're going to be trading the euro dollar and indeed all the other dollar pairs. Pound dollar also went down significantly last week, Monday through Wednesday, and then it pretty much hit support or something of strength came back into the pound. And while it didn't turn up, not yet, it definitely stopped dropping. So this is in contrast to the euro dollar. It looks like the worst for the pound dollar is over. And indeed, as I mentioned, even from the prior week, I think the pound is probably going to be heading up against the dollar at some point in the near future. USDJPY, dollar strength, that's all you can say or see here. And we did see it retrace all the way back to resistance. Another one where I'm eager to see if that trend continues, in which case we'll jump in that direction, or more likely we're going to see a turnaround and a return towards the bottom. USD CAD, same thing, dollar strength, CAD following along. So it did breach resistance around the 133.5. It's not quite out of the Ichimoku cloud. So the top of the cloud did act as proper resistance. And we can see those 2 wicks on Thursday and Friday's candles towards the top, which to me is telling me that that movement may be a little bit done. So again, waiting to see how the week kicks off. USD Swiss went up and away like there was no tomorrow. I think we traded this one on one of the accounts quite successfully. It did get stopped at the top of the cloud as the week ended. Probably still had more legs to go. So what we're seeing here is a mix of dollar strength, but also Swiss franc weakness. So we'll see if it goes all the way up to the next level of resistance, either the horizontal or the dropping trend line. They're pretty much at the same spot around the 94, 94.25. And indeed, that will be at least 150 pips worth of action that we can try to grab. But I'm waiting to see how the week starts. Aussie dollar strength, so it is breaking a couple of levels of support and ultimately hit the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud where the week ended. Doesn't look like it dropped too much Thursday, Friday. The big drop was Monday into Wednesday. So like I said, this movement may be a little bit done, but no telling until we see it either bounce or continue. Kiwi dollar, same thing, Monday through Wednesday, a very steep drop. And then Thursday, Friday, it was pretty much hanging out at support, trying to go back up. Didn't quite manage it and ended the week pretty much around the price point at the end of Wednesday. So no net movement the last couple of days of the week. Definitely breaking support, so we have to be cautious with this one. If we do see a break of support, which I can't imagine happening, or at least not sustained, as I don't see dollar strength being the name of the game for a while, then there is a just humongous amount of pips to be had on the way to the bottom. But again, I do not see that happening. Aussie Canadian breaking support, and we did start trading this one in that direction, carrying a bit of profit as the week ended. We'll see if that continues. I do think the CAD is overdue for some strength. And of course, the Aussie is probably going to end up giving up a bit of what it's done recently. It had a fantastic recovery from all the way at the bottom there in March of this year. It's gone up by about 1,200 pips overall before it started showing signs of weakness recently. I'm not saying it's going to go all the way to the bottom. That would be a little bit too much, but it could be testing some of the intervening levels of support quite easily. So even if it only drops halfway, still going to give us some nice opportunities. And of course, then we get to trade it back up or continuing down or whatever. Euro Swiss is probably the one chart that is just not telling us anything. It's going in all directions. We've been avoiding any trades on the Euro Swiss because of this. It's just not worth the time or the risk, and no changes there. We're still waiting for it to do a breakout in either direction and actually show some consistency. Euro Pound, the pound, of course, got pummeled in the last 3 or so weeks, having a particularly bad week, which took it all the way from the outer trend line to the inner trend line. And then it started recovering, then it weakened again, then it recovered again. So we're waiting to see which way it really breaks. My gut feeling is that it will return to that outer trend line, perhaps even deeper. And that is how I would play it. But the jury's still out, and we have to wait for the proper signal. EURGBP went all the way to the outer trend line. I think we traded this one quite successfully as well. And I think we're trading it again on the long-term account, perhaps. So it did cross the Kumo. That was your signal right there when it crossed the Kumo. And indeed, there's no reason why it shouldn't keep going. The euro, much like the Aussie, the euro had a fantastic run since March through about, I'm going to say, a month ago. And then it started showing signs of just running out of steam. And this is the result. So now we're seeing the EURGBP start going down. If it does break that current level of support, then we could be in for a nice run. Maybe not all the way to the bottom, but still, even if it goes halfway back down, that's still a good number of pips. Euro Canadian still looking very sluggish, very much sideways. It's traveling towards the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud, so that will now act as resistance, but it does have a very strong level of support below it at the 150, so about 100 pips below current price. We'll see if it breaches that. This is another one where if we see a breach, I'm going to go in all guns blazing because I think the CAD has been punished enough, and the euro, of course, needs to give up a little bit of what it's gained, simply because that's the way this works. The market does run in cycles, and today's winner tends to be tomorrow's loser. Pound JPY also hitting support, well, dropping quite brutally, but again, this is what happened overall to all the pound pairs. But it does look like the worst might be over. Now, what we're going to have a problem here is that the yen is gaining in strength, and if the pound starts gaining in strength as well, it'll be a battle between two currencies gaining in strength at the same time. There's every chance that one of them will be stronger than the other, making some sort of directional play, but there's also a good chance that it will start going sideways. So we'll play this one by ear and wait for something to happen and then trade accordingly. Aussie JPY, yen strength, Aussie weakness, and the Aussie, as I've been saying, was overdue for a little bit of a correction. Looks like that's happening right now. I think we're trading this one as well on the intermediate, and it has crossed the Ichimoku cloud, so now it faces stiff resistance right above it and pretty much open territory on the way down if it does continue. So this could be one of the more profitable pairs for the next month or two, again, assuming there is a continuation. Euro New Zealand has started going sideways yet again. We see that W pattern playing out from about a month and a half ago through today. Just goes down, up, down, up. So we are in a sideways channel. These are very tradable. The problem with the Euro New Zealand is it tends to move in very, very wide strokes. So if you get caught in the wrong direction, it could be a bit of a hit. So we'll see how we trade this one. I'm pretty sure it will break out eventually. And the beauty of trading the sideways channels is that you're going to be there when you have the break or the continuation. You just never get taken out of that trade, and then it goes to a new level. The problem is determining which way it is going to break, up or down. Right now, it is bouncing off of resistance. So the inclination would be to trade it down to do a short, but another one where I'm going to wait to see how the week kicks off before I jump in. Pound Canadian, pound and CAD, both fighting it out. Not a whole lot of actual anything you can sink your teeth into. It is in a very a narrow sideways channel with breakouts happening in the past couple of weeks, but none sustained. It always comes back to that little bit of a channel. And we're waiting to see which currency gains the upper hand for a breakout in either direction. Pound Swiss also in a bit of a wider but still sideways channel, heading towards the top of that channel. Ended the week at the resistance point of the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud. We'll have to see if it does a complete trip to the top of its channel. There's not much there left, about 100 pips, a little bit less than 100. And whether it keeps going or we see a bounce. I guess my bias in this pair is for it to go up. I think we have more of an opportunity for pound strength than Swiss strength, but we'll wait to see what the market does. That is the end of our chart setups we see in progress for the week. Again, the pound pairs still suffering under the Brexit separation deadline at the end of the year. But I do think the pound weakened way too much, way too quickly, and the retrace is already happening. Question being, is it going to continue or is it going to start trending sideways? The dollar pairs action cycle is overshadowing everything else right now. And anything else that plays into it is just being sucked into that election cycle as well. So the death of a Supreme Court justice and President Trump actually submitted a nominee over the weekend to replace the Supreme Court judge. That's obviously being politicized every which way. So anything that happens basically is going to be tarred by the election cycle brush. USD strength last week for reasons completely unknown, surprising, but that's what happened. And we'll wait and see if that continues into this week. The Japanese pair is starting to show some backbone, except again against the U.S. because the U.S. just strengthened more. We do have a new prime minister in Japan and a hopeful outlook, so we'll see how long that lasts and if the yen can regain some of the lost ground that it's given up over the past year. Canadian pair is still showing strength again, except against the dollar, and there's some really good opportunities if the Canadian strength play continues. This is not the first time we've said that. We've been waiting for a return to Canadian strength for a while. But trading it safely, waiting until the move actually begins, has been working out well. And I'm sure that when we do have big move, that's going to reward us quite handsomely for our pains. The European pairs, the Euro pairs, they are giving up some ground, again, probably because they've been going in one direction for so long. The market thinks it's overdue for a bit of a correction. If that starts picking up speed, then those are probably the other, in general, pairs, along with Canada, that will offer some very nice opportunities. If we combine them, for example, the Euro-Canadian, even better, because we can see some nice directional trading as both currencies move in opposite directions. That is it for us this week. Again, a reminder, our live event in Pennsylvania is happening this week. At last, it is here. So I don't have much to say. Well, we've been prepping for that. We'll be welcoming participants from all over this week to now chilly Pennsylvania. So those of you who are coming and are coming from warmer climes, be sure sweaters, jackets, whatever, because it is starting to get chilly, especially at night. There is still time to sign up and attend, but not much. This is going to be epic, guys. So if anybody's on the fence thinking about it, go to the website. Signups are open, and we really hope to see you there. That is the end of our session this week. Do I have any comments or questions from anyone? Okay, thank you very much. We'll be back and have a good one. Oh, as I said before, the schedule this week may be a bit iffy. I'll try to send out updates if we're canceling any sessions or having them at a different time. So stay tuned to your emails. Those of you who are subscribers, I'll do my best, but my priority this week is going to be on the live event. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.